1,000 tons of steel loaded by steel machines into a steel ship. What made this possible? How did it begin? It began with miners, quarrymen, and railwaymen. It was made possible by foundrymen, engineers, fitters, and again, railwaymen. The railwaymen also brought it to the ships. Thus, the iron and steel industry and the railway are fundamentally a partnership that starts with the raw materials. Three principal raw materials are needed, the first being iron ore, 500,000 tons of which pour in at the ports from all over the world. Special hopper wagons have been developed to carry these bulky cargoes quickly and easily to the smelting furnaces. Imported ore, even 500,000 tons, is not nearly enough, however, and is indeed a small quantity by comparison with the huge output from ore mines in these islands. This bucket empties tons at a time, and these machines are mining all day and every day to produce 4 million tons of iron ore every year. These are the chief ore fields, and these, the ore ports. Each ton of ore will require a ton of coal to turn it into a piece of machinery. Coal, as such, is not used for smelting. It has to be made into coke, so the coal trains go to the great coke-making ovens. Through holes on the top, specially selected, washed and powdered coal is poured in. A long, slow roasting follows, during which time large volumes of gas are freed and pass along to the machinery that will separate the tar, naphthalene, benzol, and other important chemicals of which it is composed. After roasting, all that remains is the coke. One of the most spectacular sights in the iron and steel industry comes when the hot coke is pushed out of the ovens. The third ingredient for iron smelting is limestone. Like the others, it comes from the soil. Vast quantities of limestone are delivered to the iron and steel industry every year. With the limestone areas, all principal raw materials have been found. Now for production of iron. The blast furnaces are found scattered in groups all over the country. Linking them to their raw materials is a network of communications. Let us digress for a moment and match a train with its equivalent in lorries. we can now understand a part of the impossibility of moving such a volume of material by any other means than a railway system. In a very short time, the roads would be hopelessly choked, even if there were enough lorries in the first place. In due course, the long mineral trains of raw material reach the blast furnaces. It is in these monsters that the ore, coke and limestone will be subjected to intense heat to melt out the iron. After careful grading and mixing, the raw materials are hauled in these skips to the top of the furnace and tipped in. Every few hours, sufficient molten iron has collected for the furnace to be tapped. Moving round to the front, we find a river of white hot iron pouring out of the furnace and running along sand channels to the molds or casting beds, which are also formed in the sand. Here the glow dies out of the iron and it grows cold. It is now pig iron. When cold, the comb of pig iron is put through a breaker. Although a great deal of iron is used for making cast iron ware, its most important use is to be the chief raw material from which steel is made. Of the huge amount of pig iron produced each year, some is made into steel at the same works, but generally it goes by goods train to the steel works. From the blast furnaces, the pig iron has come to the melting shops to be made into steel. The scrap steel has been gathered together. The railway has also brought the limestone. Giant machinery makes easy work of feeding the huge furnaces inside which a searing heat refines the crude iron and transforms it into a bath of liquid steel. Some molten steel is cast straight away in special molds, but the bulk is cast into large blocks called ingots, which are themselves the raw material for another process. are the ingot molds. The ingots are handled in a variety of ways. Although huge machines are used, they are only tools. Most important are the wisdom and experience of the craftsmen who wield the tools and carry on the traditions of quality built up by British blacksmiths over hundreds of years. Most of the ingots, however, are rolled. The method is quite simply to squeeze the hot lump of metal, first one side and then the other, through a series of ever-narrowing rollers. As the steel becomes smaller in section, it becomes correspondingly longer and can then be cut into convenient lengths. The work turned out by these rolling mills means to the LMS Railway an annual load of iron and steel of 7,500,000 tons. In a similar manner, other mills roll the ingots into flat plates. Shipbuilders, for instance, will use acres of plate on a single vessel. A direct descendant of the village blacksmith with a team of skilled craftsmen is here making axles with a drop forging machine. Each blow strikes with tremendous force. Also rolled from hot ingots are girder sections, so familiar in everyday use by builders. Railway lines too. The railway is itself the biggest single user of steel in the country, apart from what it carries. All over the country, throughout the year, the railway is delivering these steel products into huge factories and little workshops. All work has to be accurately machined and polished, ready for assembly into the tools of everyday life. These parts have to be put together in the fitting and assembly shops, where by skillful care and painstaking craftsmanship grow the machines to make things, the machines for building, and the machines to carry them to all parts of the world. Many of the products of Britain's vast steel industry go right into our homes. The familiar safety razor blade, produced in ribbon formation in one of our most modern factories, depends upon the blast furnaces and the steelworks for its very existence. But always remember, not one of these is any use until it has been taken by the railway to the place where it is needed. The physical control of all this traffic rests, we all know, with a signalman. But the signalman is only one link in a chain of control. From the marshalling yards, where the wagons are sorted and made into trains, the chain stretches at its far end to the operating manager himself. Various specialist experts translate the industrial needs of the country into drivers, firemen and guards, engines and wagons, ensuring that the railway provides the right number and type of wagons at the right time and at the right place. This is truly a world of steel, whose servants are not only found by furnace, in foundry and at lathe and bench, but also found tending the delivery of goods of every conceivable sort from one end of the country to the other. From the very beginning, and at all stages of production, the railway performs its essential function of knitting the iron and steel industry together. Each is essential to the other, and this partnership has brought the age of steel into existence.